Hello and welcome to Two Crazy Scoops Podcast with your hosts, Ao and Antino. On this special podcast, we're going to have our special guest, Jacob Ortega, this week and talk to us about some pretty cool things like memory aids and, coffee and being left-handed, some of the greatest things in life. So stay tuned and listen to the shocking new revelation Antonio has. Enjoy. Okay, welcome to Two Crazy Scoots Podcast. As we already said, we have our special guest, Jacob Ortega.
Thanks for having me on.
Woo! If you guys can imagine right now, we are sitting in a cocoon of wires and electronics. It took us quite a long time to get all this stuff together. We just bought a new system, and despite it being new age, it takes a lot of wires to run it. So,
Yep.
anyways, So, there's a big thing I want to talk about, and it actually doesn't have to do with Jacob. And I kind of feel bad because it's going to steal his thunder just a little bit. So I don't know if you want to talk about that now, Aaron, if you wanted to wait till the end.
Let's wait till the end.
Okay.
You always save the bombshells for the end, so if that's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so we've been wanting to have Jacob on the podcast for a long time now, and I'm really glad that we got everything hooked up. How are you feeling today?
A little scared now.
Yeah. You already work with enough low voltage wires. Now they can choke you and stuff. So
Yeah, I'm always worried about getting choked by wires when I'm at work.
oh man, so we wanted to have you on because ever since I've met you, there's always been this very interesting things that I've never heard of, but tend to be pretty useful. One of them that we had been talking about just over text was the mnemonic peg memory system.
Yeah. So the peg system is really good, but the thing is you can basically build it from scratch to make it fit your own needs. So it can be completely different depending on who's using it.
Can I do my taxes with it?
No.
Can I do someone else's taxes with it?
But, it can be as complex or as simple as you want. So it starts basically being able to memorize a short list of things in any order that you want. And it can be as complicated as remembering every president that has ever been and what year that they were in office. It can get as complicated as you want it to be.
Wow. I think, Aaron, you'd said you'd heard about it before.
Yeah, I had actually did an online course that kind of taught the basics. I just never finished it, but I did learn the basics. So, for example, remembering a list of 10 random things or 20 random things. If they give it to me out of order, I can put it in order and recite it back to you. So stuff like that, the basics. But what he's saying is that you can use the same system and memorize more complicated things, and even remember people's names, who you just met. You can really expand on it, and I just went through the very basics. So,
is that pretty much the same thing you were talking about? Because what I'm looking at right here is the rhyming peg word system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the rhyming system I would personally never use, because the whole point of the peg system is to be visual. So that kind of takes the visual part out of it to use rhymes as your we'll call it your tags that you're using to memorize things on. So the system that I use for that is actually visual.
So I think you had talked about counting cards and stuff.
Yeah. So
if I had a deck of cards, could you kind of explain it to us a little better?
No, I could explain it without a deck of cards. So I was using that system to actually shuffle up a deck of cards and to be able to memorize what order that they were in by number, not just backwards and forwards, but you could call any number out within the deck and actually be able to remember what card was what. And that was because each spot in the deck, 1 out of 52, has its own tag on what that number is. And then each card itself has its own tag. And so you have to be able to combine those tags, make a visual, and then it will get stuck in your head and you will remember it. Because instead of being two random pieces of information, like this random card that you don't care about and this random number that you don't care about that you have to remember, it actually becomes a story, a visual. And then it's something that you won't forget because you do care about it.
So that's kind of like the process of elimination then as you're going through one card after the other. Are you keeping track of which ones you're going through, or is it just...
Well, yes and no, because you have to get really good at creating those visuals. That's really hard at first because sometimes what your tags end up being can be really boring and kind of asinine, and so you have to train yourself to make things as ridiculous or vulgar or weird, just anything to make it actually stand out. Because if it's something asinine, like you're putting a flower in a pot and you're watering it, you're gonna forget that.
Oh, okay.
But the first time that I did that, there was a visual where I still have that visual stuck in my head to this day. There was a chicken just kind of like walking around eating, and I could see just like this really creepy shadow just kind of creep over him. And when he turned around to see what it was, just this like scythe came through, chopped off his head, and there was just like blood and feathers everywhere. And that visual means that the second card of the deck is the Ace of Spades.
Wow.
So instead of a weird, just like I said, just random information that you're not going to care about, you turn those things into visuals. So the Ace of Spades is the Grim Reaper because the Ace of Spades is known as the death card.
Okay.
And then the letter 2 itself is N. And so the visual for that is actually hen. And so that's where you have to combine the visual of a chicken and the Grim Reaper. And that's how that visual came to be stuck in my head. And now, first time I did that was like 5 years ago. And I still have that visual stuck in my head without me trying to memorize that.
Yeah, it comes more naturally than actually having to sit down and rack your brain. But what's like the practical application of that then?
It depends on what you want to use it for. Some people use it to memorize their social security number or their credit cards. Some people use it for their passwords. You can use it for taking tests and stuff while you're still in school. Memorize just ridiculous amounts of information. Like I said, it just depends on how you want to use it.
How would you want to use it, Aaron?
I don't know just yet, but I think if you could maybe just give us a quick rundown of the basic, like for example, when it comes to the peg word system, like could you give us a quick rundown of how I would memorize a list of 10 things?
Okay, so the one that you have here in the example, like I said, is the rhyming system. I use more of a visual system.
Which we can ignore that.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I got 10 cards and we gave them to him, and then you had him memorize it, would he be able to recite them back to me? Or would you need more time to actually prove it?
We could do that. It would just take a really long time to go through it.
Well,
no, because you would have to explain each tag and each visual.
And it would have to be his own creation.
Exactly. And
we don't want to get that vulgar this time.
So, like I said, it's really visual. So with one looks like a lowercase l already. Mm-hmm. So remembering that one is L is really easy and it's really natural.
Okay.
Instead of, trying to rhyme it with another word or something random like that.
One in fun or bun as it has here.
Yeah. And then so the other thing is you don't want to really add more consonants because that can add more letters and that would actually complicate the system. Mm-hmm. So, originally where I saw this was in a Darren Brown book, but the one that he used for one L was actually ale. And so that would be your tag. So then when you're combining something with that tag, say a card, you have to combine ale with that tag and then try to make it something memorable, something visual that you can hang on to.
Okay. So one would be L. All right. And what would 2 be? Like, walk me through like a 1 through 10. Like, what would be my pegs for 1 through 10? Because for people who are listening, they may not have any idea how this whole system works.
Okay, so 2 would be the letter N, just because of its shape. It has two humps, and that's kind of how you remember it. So the tag for that would be hen, um, as I mentioned with the Grim Reaper thing. So anything that you want to use as tag would be that way.
Okay.
M, 3 is M because it has three humps. So again, it's visual.
Got you. Okay.
The one for that is actually ham.
Ham. Okay.
4, because 4 ends in R. That's how you remember that one. 4 is R. But because you can't really add any other vowels, and they kind of have a habit of using H, because that isn't an extra vowel in terms of other letters, the actual tag that he used for 4 would be whore. So if you want to change that or use something else in place of that, that would be better. But you just have to remember that with your other tags, how you're going to apply it.
Okay. So what will be 5?
5.
No, we'll stop that.
It only gets worse from here.
Yeah, no, that's the only off one. But 5, so 5 has an F and a V sound in it, so it could be either of those letters. And again, using an H because it doesn't add anything, it would be hive. So that one actually matches that one just out of randomness. But
Okay.
so yeah, like a beehive, and you can kind of combine that into something else. 6, because it looks like a P or a B, you could use it for either of those letters. So the one that actually goes with that is B.
B. Okay.
So visualizing a B, how you can turn that into something.
And that would be 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
7 already kind of looks like a capital T. So T is the tag for that, and then T is the actual visual that you use for that.
Okay.
8. I'm trying to remember, what is 8? What was the tag I was using for that? I want to come back to that one because for some reason I'm not remembering off the top of my head. 9 looks like a lowercase g. So G is actually the tag for that. So that one would be goo. But why is 8? I'm sorry, I'm totally blanking on 8. It's been a minute since I've used this system. Which is very helpful when you forget how to use it.
As you can tell, folks, this is a perfect memory aid. You will never forget anything in your life. After this podcast, you'll remember everything from here on out.
Oh, okay, yeah. So 8 is actually, it's like a J sound. That's why that one's actually weird. So the actual, it's phonetic. So it's actually hedge is the tag for that one because it makes that J sound even though it's DG. So that one's kind of weird.
Okay.
So when you get into 2-digit letters, it just you have to be able to put both those letters into a word without adding any extra consonants that would change it to add more letters.
Okay.
And again, you can make it as complicated as you want.
Okay. But just for the sake of example, we'll just work off of
like Aaron's social
the
security
10.
number right now. We're gonna
Exactly.
we'll memorize that.
472 38.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever forget 4 now, so thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't write it. Like I said, I read that in a book, but
Okay, so if I were to give you a list of 10 items randomly out of order, based on the system that you just gave us, would you be able to recite them back to us?
yes,
In
absolutely.
order? Okay. So I actually made a list. I have like 2 more items to add to it, but I'll start giving you the list and then we can kind of go from there.
Okay.
Excuse me. All right. So number 2 is car.
Okay.
Number 4 is rug.
Okay.
Number 6 is Microsoft.
Okay.
Number 3 is notebook. And I have to
Okay.
remember which ones I told you.
You didn't type them?
Well, no, I'm
He's
typing
trying to
them.
read them out of order, so I can.
Yeah, so he
Oh.
can't. Number 1 is TV.
Okay.
Number 7 is Apple.
Okay.
Number 9 is going to be iPad.
Okay.
Number 8 is going to be glass.
Okay.
Number 10 is going to be football.
Okay.
Let's see. Number 5 is vacuum.
Okay.
And I think that's all of them, right? Did I do them all?
I don't know.
You did them all.
I did
I
them
just
all?
think it was funny that you chose 4 as rug because like he was
Yeah, I was. Oh yeah, yeah. Anyway,
Wait, 4 is
because
rug?
4 the only reason I remember 4 well
No.
we
No.
went back to 4 again. No, it's
No,
because
no.
it's R.
No. So, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so
I see
that
what
one
you're
was
saying.
like easy.
Okay, got you. Well, I did this list before I heard his, so I didn't know what method he was going to use. But I did. I hope I covered 1 through 10.
Me
yeah,
too.
yeah, you did. You
Okay.
did, yeah.
Okay. So could you recite that list back to me?
Why don't you give me a random number and I'll give it to you that way, so I can do it out of order.
Okay. All right. What was number 9?
9. So, like I said, 9 is G is goo, and so the visual that I had in my head was like an iPad being trapped in goo, and somebody trying to get it out as it was like, encompassing their hand. So I would say iPad.
Goo pad.
Yeah. I'm just making a note of this so I remember which ones I actually gave you. So yeah, that was right. So what about number? I'm sorry. What about number 1?
Number 1 was so I have a visual in my head of watching a TV as it's like filling up with beer. So again, ale being the tag, so I would say TV for that one.
Okay. What was number 3?
I have a visual of a pig taking notes, so I would have to go with notebook on that one.
Where was the pig from again?
Ham was the tag.
Okay.
It was 3M, then ham,
Okay.
Yeah.
and then a pig taking notes.
All right. What was number 6?
6 was what's the visual? Hmm. 6. He's on a. I'm getting a visual of him on a computer, but what was the tag for that?
Oh, I
Oh, that was
remember.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
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 I was like, I don't think it was just computer, but that's what I was seeing. Yeah.
All right. What was number 8?
8 was I'm getting a visual of like a hedge that's made out of glass. I would go with glass on that one.
Yeah. What was number 10?
Football. Getting a visual because the tag for 10 is actually lice.
Okay.
Because it combines L and S. So I got a visual of a guy like picking up football, and you can see lice crawling all over it. And it kind of crawls up on him.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Can't
scenery.
forget it though. That's the point.
All right. What was number 7?
7 was apple. I got a visual of an apple with a spout, and they were pouring out tea out of it.
Huh.
Number 4?
4 was a rug.
Okay.
Yeah, that
And,
was
Which
Yeah, we'll
somehow
just,
he remembered that
yeah,
one.
we'll just skip over that.
4.
Did I ask you for a 5 already?
You didn't. 5 was actually vacuum.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a visual of a guy shoving a vacuum in a beehive trying to suck up all the bees.
Okay.
Why wouldn't he be sucking up the honey?
Because that wouldn't be the tag.
Oh.
And number 2.
Two. Let's see. Two. What was the hen doing? The hen.
And like I said, hopefully I did give you 2 because I went out of order myself, but I didn't mark the ones that I gave.
Let me see it. Oh, yeah, but
Did he give me that one?
he did.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, because I'm trying to think of the tag is a hen. I'm trying to think what happened to the hen in that narrative.
That was the first
I
one
don't
you gave
remember
him,
the visual.
actually, I think. This makes for great podcasting.
Yeah, the awkward silence.
The awkward silence. Hey, guys, tune in this week as you sit here for another 5 minutes of awkward silence. Normally you can do it yourself, but you can do it with us this week.
What happened to the? I'm trying to think of the visual. Oh man.
And like I said, I apologize because when I was giving them out, it wasn't, the list was kind of all over the place.
No, I must not have made a very good visual for that because I can't see
It was
that
a
one
car.
in my head right now. Oh, yeah, that's why. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but the system, no, but in all seriousness, no, obviously it works because
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So
you
you
to
have the same. What I'm getting from it though is you have the same exact tags for every number, so to speak.
Yes.
And so that way it just comes naturally because you already have something that you're going back to reference.
Exactly.
You just add one more visual picture to that, and then that visual becomes the answer to whatever question it is.
Yeah, and then sometimes, like I said, if the visual isn't vivid or weird enough, sometimes it doesn't stick, and so.
Why didn't the car stick?
Honestly, the visual that I had was a car that looked like a chicken, and I think where I messed up on that one was it kind of made the tag the car part, and so when I was trying to think of what happened to the chicken, I didn't see the chicken in the visual because it was already the car.
Oh.
So yeah, that's where I messed up on that one. But yeah, and then it takes practice too. Like I haven't memorized anything using the peg system in a little bit.
Yeah, but the system itself is, again, remembering something with a number. Can you do that? Does it have to be numbers? Can you do something else? Like what? Let's say, what's something you'd have to memorize pretty frequently?
Well,
let's just say you had some system, like you were taking inventory at a shop, and each box weighed different numbers. Let's say this box weighed 5 pounds. This box had 2 bags of 5 pounds. Comes out to 10 pounds.
That system wouldn't be as good for that. For that, it would probably be better to use a linking system. Which is good because the peg system can kind of be connected with anything else. But if you're trying to remember the value attached to something back and forth that way, it would probably be better just to try to link those two in your mind, which is a totally different thing.
Well, let's just say, for example, you met. What about memorizing names? Like, let's just say you met 5 people in one setting. How could you use that to remember their names?
Peg system, not so much because it's using numbers to kind of tag it to things, and so with people that doesn't translate nearly as cleanly. With names, I typically try to anchor their name either to its own visual or to a sound, something like that. And then the other thing is, if somebody that I meet has the name of several other people that I know with that same name, I will try to group that person's face with their face in my head. So when I see them and I see those other people in my head, when I see them, I know they're also have that same name.
Okay.
But yeah, the peg system's not really good for that.
Okay. And I guess the one other thing I can think of is what if you wanted to give a speech or something? Would any of these principles work for that?
That's where I think we're going to get into the mind palace with, right? Memory thing.
Speech is different because you're kind of on the spot and you have to be able to give that information out cleanly and more natural. So that one, yeah, I don't even know about the Mind Palace so much on that. That one might be better with linking because if you're giving a speech or something like that, it's going to be in order anyways. So if you can link one thing to the next,
Okay.
it makes it easier to have a smooth flow all the way through.
Okay,
That's
so
kind of like. Oh, sorry.
wait, so if a speech would be like that, like related to linking, would the same principle apply for taking notes? You use like a linking system as well?
Yeah, so the difference between linking and peg system is with the peg system you're trying to link something to its own tag and the tag doesn't change. With linking system, it's just you start with the first thing that you want to remember and you connect it to the next thing.
Gotcha.
And you try to do that visually.
Okay.
And so like if you're trying to put together like a grocery list or memorize the speech, stuff like that, linking them together would probably be better for that.
Okay. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just thinking like when Anna, when she's taking notes for something in ASL, that's kind of how she does it, is by drawing pictures. And the visuals kind of speak the language as opposed to writing down. Because you're mostly using concepts as opposed to actual words, if that makes sense. So I think that's kind of like what you're talking about, linking.
Yeah, could you explain like a little bit of like what the linking system is, or
Okay, so like
or like a good example how to use it?
so the like I said, you're taking things that you're already trying to remember and connecting them together. So like if you're going to the grocery store and you need to get soda, but then you also need to pick up some bananas, then you take one of those things and you link it to the other.
Okay.
So when you get there and you're like, oh yeah, I need to get soda, and then that reminds you of the next thing that you have to remember. But again, the more weird visual out there that it is, the easier it is to remember.
Like banana soda or something.
So
Well, even that, I mean, all the weird stuff that they have now, you might even forget that. So, if you think of like I don't know, like an anthropomorphized banana, like walking around drinking a soda, you might not forget that.
yeah.
But again, you're not trying to connect it to its own tag. You're not, what was item number 1 on my list that I was looking for. That one's just easier to kind of to try to bring them together.
Oh, what?
So, okay. So, like, if I was going to the store and I needed cake mix, wheat bread, Coca-Cola, and shaving cream, how would you memorize that?
Anthropomorphize is an attribute to attribute human characteristics or behavior to a object.
Like most cartoons and
Wow,
like
it's the first time I ever
SpongeBob.
heard that word.
Yeah, so if you saw like a banana person drinking soda, like that would stick more in your head.
Now I
than
just think of
banana
bananas
flavored
in
pajamas. Yeah.
Oh man, that makes me
Dude,
feel
that's a whole other tangent though. Like
yeah,
that would just ruin it.
Yeah, let's not go on to the bananas and pajamas. Yeah, that can get tricky. When again you're putting things that like in your head are kind of just like boring or everyday items, and trying to connect them in that way. So the thing is practicing with it and seeing what kind of visuals and getting used to just making a ridiculous visual on everyday things. It does make it a lot easier. Because trying to link a full shopping list to a numbered list like that can be a little bit too much. Especially kind of defeats the purpose of being able to remember something and efficiently be able to go pick it up at the store. So yeah, linking would probably be better for that, but sometimes that does get hard too.
Yeah, because I think for me, like I spend so much time making up the system that when it comes to actually doing the job, just like, oh, I did all that work just to remember soup and chips.
Yeah, exactly.
Like once upon a time, there was this giant polar bear who needed chips, but not just any chips.
Yeah, and that's where it just gets into how beneficial and how useful it's going to be to you. Because
But you'd say like linking is used mostly in marketing then also, because now that I said polar bears, I'm thinking of Coke.
That gets into a whole nother psychology thing. So that's yeah.
They're like, okay, polar bears. This is now the like mascot for our soda.
Yeah.
It's like, can you guys actually? Yes, we can. No one copyrights polar bears like us. Okay. What about Klondike? Forget Klondike. This is a whole other ball game now.
Yeah, I don't think we want to get into to that kind of psychology right now.
Wow. Well, whenever you think of polar bears, think of me now.
Nice.
Oh man. So yeah, I just thought it was interesting because, like you said, the memory aid stuff. I've never really delved too deep into it, although we were trying to learn like another language, but that was totally different. Using those memory aids, I think with language, what kind of a system would you use the best to learn a language then?
Something as complex as a language, honestly, you would be using a measure of different things because you're going to have words that are similar to the words that you already use in your own language. So being able to link those to those would make it more useful. Some of them that are way off, then you'll have to worry more about being able to connect it. But again, it's what makes most sense to you.
Yeah.
Because you're the one who has to remember it. So again, peg system, I don't think would work so much for that. Because you would have to be combining
Yeah,
you would
an
have to
infinite
make it,
number of.
well, it's not only that, but you would have to make a number tag for a word that you want to be able to use naturally. So
Yeah.
if you're trying to remember a list of vocabulary to show off for somebody once, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But to be able to remember something, comprehend it, and actually be able to use it as another language, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah. So then I think we had talked about the. Let me see. Oh, I didn't even take screenshots of this. I just got the link because I was like, why am I screenshotting all this stuff when I could just open it? So the Memory Palace. Let's talk about that for a little bit. So Wikipedia, which is the really the best source for any information. As long as you're not donating to them.
Wait, what? We can't donate?
Well, I've never donated. They're like, all we need is 25 cents. Please,
Yeah, exactly.
Please, sir. And I'm like, no.
We will go offline if you don't.
Listen, sir, the internet is free. Thank you very much. Just open up another site. I think there's like people that actually go on and edit it for free.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't even get paid.
No, yeah, you can anyone. I think anyone can edit a Wikipedia page. I think,
But there's people that spend time to correct the errors.
Yeah, and actually add the links to like what they're referencing and stuff, like to prove what they're saying.
Yeah. Why would anybody put that much work into something and not make any money from it?
Again,
Anyways, back to our podcast.
Well, thank you, Freud. So with the Memory Palace, that got popular with the whole Sherlock Holmes thing.
Yeah.
So it's actually using location. The Memory Palace is kind of a misnomer because that's already assuming that you can remember an entire palace worth of locations to be able to connect things to. And so at its most simplest form, you really don't want to try to, like, this list is using this specific location to try to remember things, but the thing is you have to remember that location to be able to add tags to it. So if you were going to start building your memory by location, the best thing to do is to start at home. So look around you and just kind of connect information that you have to visuals around the house. And that could be as simple as, I don't want to forget to not take my wallet with me. So you can like walk up, kind of stare at the front door and get that visual of like your wallet in your head. and then it will stick. And then when you go to walk out the house, and then it makes you think of your wallet, and then you realize you forgot your wallet, you'll go back for it. So it could be as simple as that, or it could actually be, to the point of memorizing whole files of information that you have tucked around in that location in your head.
It's kind of the same principle as like tying a string around your finger.
Yeah, exactly.
But
like you see that visual, and that reminds you of something else.
But you would just do that with your cell phone, for instance. If you pulled your cell phone out of your pocket, you would think about something else.
Exactly. And then again, you can make that, complicated enough where you're thinking about you walking into your house, going into a specific room and getting a piece of information. Even the same way that they kind of portrayed on some of the Sherlock Holmes shows. But the thing is, it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of developing that system in your head, how it makes sense to you and where you're going to store information. So that's not something that tomorrow you're going to have a memory palace and be able to store anything you've ever learned in that place. But you can start gradually with simple things like that, and then again build up to it.
So what you're saying is, instead of actually physically pulling my phone out of my pocket, I could visualize myself opening the door, walking into my room, which in my mind palace is where I keep my phone, in a drawer on my desk.
Yeah, so like say you're trying to memorize something like we were talking about with language. Like if you were trying to memorize a set of vocabulary words, when you're memorizing those words, you can visualize yourself putting those away in a file, actually writing them down and putting them in a folder, maybe in your bedroom in the drawer. And then so when you're trying to remember what that vocabulary is, you can visualize yourself going into your room, going into that drawer where you have that folder in your mind. And look up those words that you tie to that memory. So it's like creating its own false memory to attach things to it. That's where that whole location thing comes from. But again, that can be as complex as your mind can handle it, or as much work as you want to put into remembering a ridiculous amount of things.
Yeah, which I don't. The things I want to remember, I don't remember. And the things I don't want to remember are ever so clear.
And that's again, that's part of the principle behind it, making those visuals bizarre and weird, because those are the things that you remember.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's the same way that, there's nursery rhymes that you maybe haven't heard since you were a child, and you could still recite word for word, even though you've never think about those things.
Yeah.
Because you still have, the song stuck in your head. You can still hear that in your head. You can still see the visuals of, the childhood books of seeing Humpty Dumpty fall off the wall and shatter into pieces.
Because you get those visuals stuck with the words over and over.
Yeah, and then as soon as we go to school, they completely change the way that we learn things. But if we continue to learn the same way that we naturally learn things, you can actually store so much more information in your head.
And how? Because that's funny that the school system is based upon memorization, and yet they don't teach good memorization tools.
Yeah, and that is a problem, and it comes to the point where everyone kind of jokes about you shove all these things into your head and then you immediately forget, after you graduate, and that's just kind of the problem in the way that we try to learn academically, is because we just jam information into our head and hold on to it long enough to recite it, and then it has no use.
Yeah, exactly.
There's this little kid, and he was like, hey, just tell me a bunch of facts. And one of them, he was like, did you know that a red car is more likely to get pulled over to get a speeding ticket? And I was like, oh, did you know that by the time you're my age, you're going to forget all this stuff?
No, it's true. It's true. The way we teach in school. Yeah. I wish they could use more of these principles, like in public schools, to actually teach things.
Yeah, I still would have been dumb.
Probably, but
oh, now I can remember everything. Make it stop. Why is George Washington in my head?
Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was good. I don't know. I found that stuff very interesting, because I think everybody's trying to memorize stuff, but sometimes it's not the stuff that we want to memorize. So I think the system, like you were saying, is kind of good to use. I'm not really sure what I want to remember right now, though.
But the PEG system for me is like really interesting. I really like that one.
It's because your brain is supposed to work one way. And it does work that way, but these other things get in the way of it, and it makes you like kind of divert, because it's like you should just do the way things are naturally. It comes naturally to you, like you're saying. When you have these visuals, you make it for yourself, and then you don't even have to stress about it. It's just like there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. So thanks for sharing that with us.
Oh, no
I know
problem.
when I had texted you, you're like, nobody wants to hear about this, and I was like, but nobody is hearing about it, except Aaron apparently, who took like 4 years of college in the PEG system
With no degree to show for it.
Aaron's online school degree.
I just took random classes.
Heary. Yeah. Speaking of being in school, this is where we're going to talk about Aaron's favorite subject.
What?
I don't know. Last week, we talked about introducing Jacob to the podcast.
Yeah.
I said he was a left-handed person.
Oh.
And then when we got off the air, you went off about left-handed people.
Uh-oh.
He was just unhinged. It's like, you don't understand. The scissors.
The scissors.
The scissors.
Oh, you're lefty?
No, I'm not. But yeah, it started in kindergarten. They had right-handed scissors and there were left-handed scissors. And so all the kids, when it was time to get scissors, we would all run up to this arts and craft table and grab scissors, and all the right-handed scissors would disappear first. And I was always stuck with one of the left-handed scissors. And from that moment on,
Why didn't you just use your left-handed cut?
Well, I had to.
Oh.
But I didn't like it. But yeah, you have to, because if you try to cut with left-handed scissors with your right hand, for some reason it doesn't work. But what's funny is I don't see them. You don't really see left-handed scissors anywhere anymore.
No, they're just there to torture you in your childhood.
Maybe. I think so. I mean, I'm not saying they're not out there, but I'm just saying, like, when you go to the store, you just see scissors. You don't necessarily see which hand they're for.
Teaching children is so boring.
Oh, my
Let's
God.
watch them struggle.
Yeah. Let's
Like,
give
okay.
them left-handed scissors.
10 of you are going to get right-handed scissors.
Yeah.
And 2 of you are going to have to figure it out for yourselves.
Yeah. They had like a
Start
whole
cutting
box
with your
full
teeth.
of left-handed scissors. I'm like, well, you don't need that many. You may need 2 for every class of like
God.
100.
I don't know. I really hope they can hear that helicopter.
Anyway, yeah. So,
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, that's always an issue with stuff. There's so many things that society just kind of feels like, oh, you have to figure it out because it works for most people, and that does make it hard with just stuff like that, like trying to use scissors to cut something and make it look neat, and that actually is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny because, like, obviously, I don't know. I mean, you live your life and you are around some people that are very similar to you your whole life. And then let's just say you meet someone from a different culture, right? And then you realize that they do things kind of almost the opposite that you do. I didn't realize that being left-handed was really that big of a difference.
Oh, yeah.
So my mom's left-handed, Anna's left-handed, my friend, well, you're left-handed, your brother's left-handed, Jason's left-handed. A lot more left-handed people than I thought in my life. And they live a different life than we do.
Yeah, I've never thought about it. I really don't even know
it's kind of like
who's
this
left-handed because I don't really pay attention to it.
Well,
But that's the thing, is left-handed people look for that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been so many times where I'm writing something and they're like, "Oh, you're left-handed too."
the
We're-
Illuminati is just
struggle.
left-handed people.
You're right, exactly. We're brothers.
We get hide in plain sight because you don't even know.
Except for Beyonce, she's right-handed. So,
Oh.
Oh.
but she's still Illuminati.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
You're like, what?
What? When did Beyonce come up? I was like, is this one of your like memory tricks or
Oh,
something?
jeez.
That's Beyonce is a future podcast.
No.
You can't talk about the Illuminati and not bring up Beyonce.
I don't even talk about the Illuminati.
You brought it up.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
On the bright side, this podcast is going to shoot up the charts just because we mentioned it.
There you go. So I found this internet article called 20 Struggles Only Left-Handed People Will Understand. And we'll see if you relate to any of these.
Scissors, the first one.
Yeah, the scissors is the first one. Finding a lefty-friendly desk.
Yes. Like, all desks are made for righties. Yeah.
That's funny. It's got the handle on the ergonomic handle scissors, not for lefties, though. Okay, measuring tapes tend to be upside down.
Yep.
You see, I've never even thought about this stuff.
Exactly, because it doesn't affect you
That
at all.
is so crazy.
You
The
open it
world
and
is
you
made
use
for
it.
me. It is my oyster. I am right-handed. Hear me roar. Crosswords are discriminatory.
Yeah, that's talking about smearing your letters. So when you're lefty, so when you're righty, your hand is
It
slanted
goes out
away
of the
from your
way.
writing,
Ah.
and when you're lefty, your hand smears into it. So unless you're super careful to make sure that your hand is pointed at an angle, you will smear your letters. And this happens to me at work. I will have marker or pen all over my hand, and everything will be smeared because I'm like trying to label cables or something like that. That's a constant issue I have to deal with like every day.
Wow.
Of course, if you write from right to left, then you kind of avoid that problem there, right?
It's writing backwards there.
Exactly.
Show some
Yeah,
respect.
that'll make it easier for me to memorize a completely different writing system.
The eternal right-left elbow war. Oh, like eating
Yeah,
at a table.
yeah. Which isn't. I mean, when I'm at home with my left-handed brother, that's not an issue.
Yeah. The devil's own spiral notebooks.
Yes. I hate spiral notebooks so bad. Or like the big folders that we would use in school that you put all your. I hate those so much.
What?
So what's wrong with?
I just hated life.
What's wrong with the spiral notebooks? I don't understand that.
Okay, so when you're writing on the right side, if you're lefty, your hands dig into the rings,
Oh,
and then it messes up your writing. If you're right-handed, you're writing away from it, so it's not a big deal.
got you.
But when you're lefty, it's right in your way.
right,
So you either have to write straight down, which is awkward already, or you have to just gap everything really far and then start writing.
But, I mean,
Oh.
if you're writing on the back piece of a
didn't-
paper in a spiral notebook anyways.
well, yeah,
as
if
a
you're just
right-handed person.
if you're just jotting down notes, I guess it really won't. It doesn't matter. But if
Yeah,
you're
but
trying to write in the lines and all that stuff, then yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Can openers can go... They can't... I don't even...
Oh yeah, can openers.
That one, I don't know. I haven't had an issue with can openers that I can remember.
Yeah. Do left-handed people eat
because you have to
less
use
canned
both
foods?
hands anyways, because
Don't
you have to
usually
grip
just
it with
stab
one
it?
hand and
No, a can opener. That's not how you open can. Okay, next.
Okay,
Ooh, that's
firing a
firing
gun.
a gun.
okay, yeah, that is
Now,
an
has
issue.
this caused you problems in the past?
Yes. You know, when you're in that tight spot, you're like, oh no, I gotta shoot my gun, but I'm left-handed.
You're like, dude, could you just move over to the left a little bit so I can shoot you?
Oh, jeez.
Legally, I cannot answer that.
Okay.
No, even with a bow and arrow, the way that they put the sight, like the notch on that, is always for right-handed people. And so, yeah, just like simple things like that, they're made for righties. That's so either it's way more expensive or you just can't find them.
Got you.
So you either have to do that thing right-handed, which makes it harder and take even longer to learn that thing, or just not do it.
Yeah, because your brother, he plays right-handed instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just... That's the thing that Anna does is, like, if it's... She kind of learned to just... Some things she's going to do with her right hand, some things she's going to do with her left.
Yeah, and you do, and you make those compromises, and in the end, it messes you up.
Jacob is coming out as a fully left-handed person.
No, it's just because you learn to do these things, and then you realize this took me so long. Something else that's simple and basic for everyone else, and for me, it's this whole thing that I had to sit and actually practice and learn, and it just makes things harder.
Pen decals that remind you you're left-handed.
Oh yeah. So any decorations on the pen are going to be upside down. Okay, I can see that.
Noticing fellow lefties in films.
Like I said, yeah, you do notice lefties in public when they're doing stuff, just because it's something that's always on your mind.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought of that either.
Accidentally drinking someone else's drink. I don't know. It's not scrolling anymore.
No, you have to worry about other people drinking your drink because they're not used to somebody having their drink on their left side if they're sitting next to you.
Okay.
So
I'm not the one with the problem. You are.
exactly.
All right.
It's like I'm used to sitting next to righties.
Yeah.
What's your excuse?
Yeah.
Playing instruments?
Yeah.
I don't play any instruments, so that's not really an issue for me. The binder folders, yes. See, told you. Those are the worst. I hate them so much.
If it makes you feel any better, I hated them too. I'd always pinch my fingers on those rings.
Oh, because again, you're trying to write in the binder part is in the way.
The spirals?
Well, they're not really spirals right there. In a binder folder.
Yeah, the binder clip. If you're
The clips, those are what's in your way when you're writing.
I don't know. I just always pinch myself on them.
Oh yeah, keyboard number pads.
What's that?
The
the number pad that's on your right. That's just numbers.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not the
yeah.
numbers across the
Oh,
top.
you'd have to to reach over.
I love that you think this is all hilarious.
It is hilarious because I love that number pad. It's so easy to type numbers
You're
into.
just-
Oh
You're
yeah,
just
it's very
mean.
very easy.
You're just like.
You are heartless, man.
I just imagine
Antino
you
is enjoying
having
this
to
way
go
too much.
like this.
Again, that's one thing that I just learned how to do it right-handed, and it took me longer than it had to, but I got used to it, and it's like whatever. I'm not gonna buy a special keyboard just to have that on the left side or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just one of those things you
Do
compromise
they
on.
sell keyboards though with that on the left side?
I think they sell them with separate
Yeah.
keypads. so you can
Oh,
put
it's
it
like
on
its own like
Yeah,
Yeah,
its own
yeah,
little
yeah.
keypad.
you can put it wherever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
What
and
about
there's like a few lefty specialty stores that do sell weird stuff like that.
what about car cup holders? That's not too bad of an issue, right?
Yeah, I haven't found that to be an issue. I'm kind of ghetto, and I'll just put my drink in my lap anyway. So
Okay, so you drink and drive.
yeah.
Generally socializing with non-lefties. Would you rather shake hands with your left hand?
No, but that's because that's something that I've always grown up doing right-handed. So to me, that's really natural. If somebody gives me their left hand because they have something in their other hand or something, that's actually super awkward to me. So yeah, that I don't know.
I like shaking people. Like when they do that, just shake it with my right hand. Anyways, I'm like, we're gonna make it awkward for both of us.
Where they have to like come over the top and yeah, grab it on the same side. Yeah, yeah. That the one thing that I have noticed, I don't know if it'll list it later, but you can sometimes spot lefties when they're using a credit card machine. Because when they go to swipe, they'll try to do it with their left hand. And because it's on the right side, it will pull the magnetic strip away from it and it won't work. So they'll sit there for like so long and I was like, just do it with your right hand. I know, I do it all the time.
That is so funny. There's so many little things that I just don't think about from day to day.
Swiping credit cards
there it
is
is.
on the
There it
list.
is. I told you.
Let's
Dude,
hope
your
this
life
chip-
stinks.
That's so funny.
Man.
I like the little caption. It says, "As for the swiper, let's hope it's chip and pin."
I know, right?
Oh yeah, well
Because
now
it
they have
doesn't matter.
chips and
If
everything.
it has
Yeah.
a chip, it doesn't matter. But
Or now you can just like,
so that problem is going
Scan it.
away.
yeah, there you go. One less thing to worry about.
Yeah, yeah.
Playing computer games. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't really play computer games, so that's
Yeah, I can't even play them right-handed. So
I mean, I'm garbage with a keyboard and mouse for a game, but
communal pens at banks. I mean, I don't like those anyways. I like to unclip them. I learned how to do it as a kid. And then
Most banks don't even use those anymore.
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
They just have pens there for everybody to use and zippers. Zippers. Let's see. I'm trying to think. That shouldn't be.
Oh, I'm glad you used your sweater zipper, Aaron.
That shouldn't be.
You caught me off guard there.
No, I can't say that I've ever had
A zipper problem.
a problem with that. So
I have a sweater that has a zipper on the other side. Everyone says it's a woman's sweater.
yeah, women's
It
zippers
is.
are
Oh,
on
I've
the
been
great.
telling.
inside.
I've been telling you.
Well, it doesn't fit me anymore.
I've been telling you to give it to Anna for the longest. Just stop wearing it.
It's like The Office. Why does this jacket button on the other side?
It is mysterious. Oh man.
Oh man. So yeah, so a lot of it's little stuff that you can work around or get used to. I think the biggest thing is that people just think it's weird,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like you have to deal with people giving you grief about something that you can't help, that doesn't change, that makes your life harder. So it's like, if I could make everything easier and just fit in with right-handed world, I would. But then you have to get grief on top of struggling with like normal everyday things that you're trying to figure out.
Man. A whole new world where everybody gets mad at you.
Oh my god.
It doesn't matter how you type or how you write.
I'm glad you turned this into. Oh god.
Oh man, jeez,
Oh.
that's profiting off other people's misery. That's what we're
So,
all about on this podcast, right, buddy?
So yeah, that's enough whining out of me, I think.
The last thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, what, Aaron? Oh, this last thing.
Yeah, what was that?
Oh, we're talking about Jacob's. What I find to be very interesting
Okay.
is that, like, when I first met him, like, I went into his room and he was like, "Do you like coffee?" And I'm like, guess I do." I just put like French vanilla creamer, and he has like a whole just get up of coffees and syrups and Italian sodas and craziness.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had like chocolate with chili in it?
Like chili pepper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd never had it then.
Yeah.
And I think you put it in my coffee.
I don't recall, but that sounds like something I would do.
I was like, huh.
Yeah. I've seen that before.
I was just wondering why you got into all that stuff.
Really, the biggest thing with me, I've always wanted to try as many different things as possible, because there's some things where it's just like, you try something that you've never had that's always been around, and then it ends up being like your favorite thing.
Yeah.
It's like you never know what something's going to taste like until you've had it. And so for me, I've always wanted to go out of my way to try as many different combinations of flavors that I could.
Yeah.
And then being able to combine those things into something even more complex, and create something that's even better.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was interesting, because I'm pretty like okay with just drinking like straight coffee. And it's like I'll drink it dark. I don't really put sugar in it unless like I want that kind of a boost too.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I thought it was interesting, because you do come up with some pretty good combinations. What would you say your favorite coffee combination is?
Coffee.
Like, what's something
combination.
that you say like you would drink but other people wouldn't really think of mixing together?
That goes good with coffee.
I never thought of putting chili pepper with chocolate, although you had like a chocolate bar with chili pepper.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to cafes and they have like a chili mocha. Like,
Yeah,
Or
we
something
went.
something you'll see too is like Mexican hot chocolate. That's what they call it. But it's like cayenne pepper and chocolate, basically.
No, they have a coffee. It was on 4th when I was working with you guys last year. We went to that
oh yeah, they had chiltepín
chiltepín in the coffee.
cold brew. Yeah, some stuff like that. A lot of times with coffee, I mean, I'll usually just go, a dark coffee, kind of plain or straight espresso, because I'm looking for more of the underlying flavors that are already within the coffee itself.
Yeah.
One of the weirdest combos that I would probably have to mention with coffee, cheese in coffee. A friend of mine actually told me to try that. You just like cut chunks of cheddar cheese, and you kind of dip it into your coffee, and the oils from it actually mix together, and you get that flavor, and then the cheese gets all melted. It's actually awesome. But again, something that most people wouldn't try
Yeah.
just hearing that. But
So-
again, you
I've
never
heard
know.
some people put salt in their coffee.
Yeah, that's weird too. Yeah.
So that should be the cover of this.
What, cheese and coffee?
cheese and coffee. That's what we'll call this episode.
Welcome to this new episode of Cheese and Coffee.
Yeah, everybody will be running to that one.
Yeah. They're like, cheese and wine or cheese and coffee?
Wow, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But even, food that people consider to be weird, like different types of seafood or even like organ meats and stuff, a lot of people will just, it's like never ever, they'll never try it, and they never build up a taste for it or even see what any of those things are like. I've always been completely opposite on that. I want to try as many things as I can, even if I know what it is and I think it's weird. I'll still at least try it.
Yeah, and that's interesting. It's funny because like I don't mind trying different when it comes to different foods and stuff, or like you said, organ meats and stuff like that. Certain things I rather. In order for me to try it, I can't know what certain things are.
Oh, yeah. Like menudo.
Yeah, like if you just say, here's some menudo, and I can try it and I can eat. Now I know what it is, but at first I'm just like, you don't have to tell me. Let me just try it first, and then you can tell me after what it is. Otherwise, I won't try it. Certain things is just like, I don't know. And like liver, I can't stand.
Like
liver.
Went to Mississippi.
Liver and onions is like my favorite.
Well, here's the thing. If it's cooked well, maybe I can tolerate it, but most of the time it's very rare that I see it cooked well. And when I say cooked well, I mean liver it smells like, when you cook it, it smells like a urinal. Yeah, and that's what and it tastes like one too.
Yeah, it does have to be prepared properly.
So if you prepare properly, you get that urinal smell out of it.
Just Febreze it.
Febreze a liver before you eat it. Yes, good idea.
And that's the thing. You don't have to like everything, but I think people need to be more open to just try things.
Yeah, Aaron.
I mean, yeah, I agree.
Because liver's weird, and I like it. I know most people don't, but there's also a lot of people that would never ever try it, so they'd never know.
Yeah, like sardines, for instance. I turned some people onto sardines.
Yeah, I mean that's different though. It's a fish. I mean,
but people are pretty pretty against it.
Oh yeah,
like they're seriously against it.
I know, but a lot of times those people don't care for seafood anyway.
No, but
that's true.
Or their wives are like,
well, that's true.
You will not live in this house.
Right. I
if
get
you
it.
eat a sardine.
I get it. Eat them outside, brush, rinse,
power wash.
Right, and then you can come inside. Well, anchovies too.
Yeah,
I actually don't like anchovies.
On pizza, they are actually really good.
That? Well,
for some reason, I was at your house and we got anchovies from like Domino's or something, and I ate it.
Well, see, that was your problem. You got them from Domino's.
The next
you got them from Domino's.
The next day, I could still taste anchovies.
Right.
That's not sardines. Doesn't do that for me. I can eat it, I can enjoy it, and then I can leave it. It doesn't like stay with me.
No, you're right. Especially if you ate a lot of pizza too, but they're good though. Anchovies are amazing.
I have never eaten them by themselves.
No. I wouldn't eat them by themselves, but on pizza they're pretty good.
They're really good on salad too.
Yeah.
But again, that's the thing that just a lot of people I've talked to are like, no, that's gross. I would never even try that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what happens too is when you don't try things and really, you're not used to, switching between flavors or going to those extremes. I think it kind of narrows your ability to taste, and then it makes those things, jarring or weird, and then it makes it harder to be able to really taste what's in something.
No,
if you get what I mean.
Yeah, because you
completely agree.
You broaden the spectrum of what you can compare things to, I guess.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is funny because I find that with pizza, because it's like, it's not that offensive or scary, so you just eat all different kinds of pizza, and then you realize that you can get different, like you can get smoky flavors from like the brick oven.
Mm-hmm.
You can get like the garbage flavors from Papa John's.
Quick,
are we gonna just like shoot down every
Every pizza
company?
place.
Have them all after us? That would be great.
Quick question, since we're on pizza, really quick.
No.
Best pizza.
The best pizza.
Best pizza.
Where?
Period. Your favorite pizza.
That's the thing. That is the problem. Because like he's saying, once you get a broad once you get a broad enough spectrum, Aaron, you come to enjoy them all for their own special reasons.
Okay.
It's not like one is better than the other. It's like, what do I want to feel like inside when I'm done eating this?
I feel the same inside whenever I eat pizza.
Because if you eat like a
Lactose
brick,
intolerant.
a brick oven pizza, you're getting that fiery. The dough is like nice. Everything can be cooked on it really well.
And it comes out like a brick.
Yeah. And then you can go
Those
to like
delicious bread flavors that you get in it.
people hate Little Caesars, and I love Little Caesars.
So do you
Just the same.
do you prefer like the thin crust or the New York style crust, or do you like the Chicago style deep dish?
I can't honestly say I've eaten enough deep dishes to be able to give that to you in a correct answer.
We need to go to Chicago
No.
just to get some
I don't wanna
some
die,
real
Aaron.
deep dish pizza. Oh, you won't die. We've survived many
You'll
trips
just
before.
be maimed. The only thing you can do from now on is speak and do the podcast. Aaron, I'm so glad you came over. I haven't seen someone for 2 weeks. Can we record our voices again?
Oh, yeah. So you mentioned earlier that there was some bombshell that you was about to
yeah.
drop. So what is this?
Well, we made it wait long enough, but so I don't mean for this to take away from our guest, obviously. So, you ever watch a TV show?
Dude,
And,
now I'm trying to figure out like what's going on.
You ever watch a TV show and they add like a character or something to it and it just destroys the television show?
Yeah.
Like what show? I can think of like The Office when Michael Scott leaves. It's like totally different.
Okay.
So I actually got someone to co-host with us, but she can't do it every week.
Uh-oh.
She's sitting in the room with Anna, actually. She's a local Tucsonan. She's very funny. And I just wanted to see if you're okay with it.
And so you decide to record my response to this.
Classic Antonio.
Yes.
Oh, well, you said it's but you said she's gonna co-host like guest co-host periodically.
Yeah, her schedule isn't allowed her to do it like frequently,
Mm-hmm.
but for today, she's like waiting.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. Do you want to meet her?
Do you really want to record this?
Yes.
Why? This is really weird.
Okay, ready?
Okay. Is it a dog?
Oh, wow.
No, I don't think I can keep a dog quiet.
It's a cat. It's a cat.
It's a kitty.
Oh, man.
How old is she?
I don't know, but she has a tattoo.
She has a tattoo.
Oh, okay.
You know, I love kittens, but I am allergic
You
to
are?
cats. I am.
She's
Yeah.
a kitten.
I know, but I love kittens, though. I do love them.
She is the first
And I still-
podcasting kitty. Here.
I still will pet them. But does she speak, though?
Yep.
She's like purring into the microphone.
Yeah, I think she's broken. She purrs constantly.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. We can have her on.
Okay.
That she has my vote of approval. You should put her picture on Instagram.
No.
Oh, you.
She's too young for that, Aaron.
Oh,
She's
Oh,
just
man.
a small kitty. Say hi.
she should start her. Yeah, you should start her an Instagram page. Too.
Well, I thought that it would really, appeal to our female listeners since we have so many. You can have a cat. See?
I think you just lost the two that you had now.
What, you and Aaron?
Yeah. Oh! Oh, man.
Well,
Oh.
Now everybody's offended. Great.
Now everyone's offended.
we apologize in advance for all who were offended.
Okay, her schedule doesn't allow her to stay anymore.
So where did you find her? Or
We
where'd you
got
get
her
her?
at the Humane Society.
Oh, nice.
I know. I feel like I'm Jack Hanna now.
And how old is she?
Like 2 months. 2.5 months.
2.5 months. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's tiny. She had a brother named Rex, but I don't think we could fit 2 cats here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was funny. Apparently, the lady that brought her there, she'd only been in the store for an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So when we came to we were just looking for kittens, and then we adopted her.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was like, she's only been here for like an hour.
Nice.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah, I guess the house that she was like, they call it foster?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means. A foster home. There was like a lot of animals there and stuff, so she's pretty acclimated to dogs and other cats. So
Oh, okay.
she hasn't destroyed anything yet, thankfully.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
So, what's her name?
Cleopatra.
Cleopatra.
Yeah.
Okay. Cleo.
Her original name was Emily, but we changed it to Cleopatra.
Wow.
Okay.
I was like, I don't want this name from my kitten.
That's hilarious. Nice. That's awesome. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we're good. We're good. We can have a co-host.
Okay. You'll just be sneezing profusely.
Yeah, and we'll Photoshop her into some of our pictures.
Yeah, man.
Of her sitting.
Come on, that's why I got the cat. Get
Yeah.
more viewers.
She can be the next Smudge the cat.
Smudge the cat. You know what? We need to take a picture of her sitting at
Yeah,
there and
at
you
the table.
screaming
Yeah.
at the cat. You a butt.
You took my seat as a host.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we can definitely do a lot with that. That's
Okay.
awesome.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I was worried for a minute.
Yeah, you're like, it's about to go down. I'd like to use this first time we had a guest to completely change the show. Man, I really built it up too. I wrote a whole script for it and everything.
Oh, jeez.
And she does actually like classical music.
Mm-hmm.
I guess when cats purr or kittens purr continuously, it's because they're nervous. So while she was getting acclimated to the house, that's what she was doing, and we would just play like piano music or classical music, and she'd just go to sleep.
And what kind of tattoo does she have?
So whenever a cat gets spayed, they tattoo it so that if it gets out, they already know that that's been done. They don't have to.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, neither did I.
Wow. Okay. Huh. I just learned something new.
Yeah, as I said, I feel like Jack Hanna. Let me see. She does play the piano.
She plays the piano.
Yeah, she just steps on it.
Oh, really? I thought she actually played there for a second.
Well. Maybe one day, okay? We can dream. The piano cat. And, yeah. She's crazy. And she's asleep now.
That's
Man.
funny.
So, yeah. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming to our podcast this week. We're so happy that we had Jacob Ortega talk to us about the ins and outs of the education system and how horrible it is. And why left-handed people are going to take over the world someday. So start practicing now. We'll see you guys next week when I have our guest, Damien Coates and Bosses, talk to us about mariachis and being Greek.
That's perfect.
So
Perfect topic for him.
join us next week.